China's housing market, often viewed as a ticking time bomb in global economics, is showing unexpected resilience with rising home prices. Yes, you heard that right. Prices are climbing in a sector many analysts had almost written off. It's like that plot twist in a movie where the underdog suddenly takes center stage. Who knew? Let's dive into what's happening, why it's happening, and what it could mean for China and the global economy. For years, China's housing market has been both a beacon of prosperity and a source of concern. This is a sector where about 70% of the nation's household wealth is tied up. It's no exaggeration to say that when the housing market sneezes, the Chinese economy catches a cold, and so does the rest of the world. But recently, instead of the feared downturn, we're seeing prices pick up in several key cities. So, what's fueling this surprising comeback? First, let's talk policy. The Chinese government isn't one to sit back and watch its economy falter. Over the past year, we've seen a series of policy adjustments designed to boost buyer confidence. From reduced mortgage rates to easing restrictions on home purchases in major cities, these measures are like the economic equivalent of turning up the thermostat to warm things up. And guess what? It seems to be working. Buyers are returning, albeit cautiously, to the market. But let's not give all the credit to government intervention. There's also pent-up demand from buyers who have been holding off due to uncertainty. Now that they see prices inching up, they're diving in, eager to grab a piece of the market before it becomes even more expensive. It's classic FOMO, fear of missing out, but in real estate form. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to be the person who can casually drop, "Oh, I bought a property in Shanghai when prices were still reasonable"? Another factor driving the price recovery is the shift in market dynamics. Developers, many of whom faced significant financial struggles during the downturn, are scaling back on new projects. This has created a supply crunch in some areas, driving up competition for available homes. Think of it as musical chairs, but with apartments, and no one wants to be left standing. Of course, this isn't happening everywhere. The recovery is most noticeable in major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, places where demand has always been high. In smaller cities, the picture is more mixed. Some are still grappling with oversupply and sluggish demand, proving that not all housing markets are created equal. Then there's the question of sustainability. Rising home prices may be great for sellers and developers, but for the average buyer, it's a double-edged sword. Affordability is already a significant issue, especially for young people in urban areas. If prices keep climbing unchecked, we could see a scenario where owning a home becomes increasingly out of reach for many, a trend that's already playing out in some Western countries. But enough with the doom and gloom. Let's sprinkle in some optimism. If managed carefully, this recovery could pave the way for a more stable housing market in China. The key will be striking a balance between encouraging investment and ensuring affordability. And knowing China's track record of navigating economic challenges, it's not impossible. If anything, the government's recent measures show they're willing to adapt and innovate when necessary. Let's also not underestimate the broader implications of this resilience. A stable housing market in China sends a strong signal to global investors. It could help restore confidence in the country's economic outlook, which has been under scrutiny following the pandemic and geopolitical tensions. In a world where uncertainty often rules, a bit of good news from China's housing sector is like finding a $20 bill in your pocket. It won't solve all your problems, but it feels pretty good. And speaking of good feelings, let's end with a little humor. The rising home prices in China might make some people nervous, but it's also a reminder of that age-old real estate wisdom. Location, location, location. So, what does this all mean for you? Whether you're a global investor, a curious observer, or just someone fascinated by the ever-changing dynamics of the Chinese economy, one thing is clear. The housing market is alive and kicking, proving its resilience yet again. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on global economic trends, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, drop your thoughts in the comments. Are we seeing a true recovery, or is this just the calm before the storm? Let's discuss. Until next time, keep your eyes on the markets.